Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jennifer Fidel. I am a first-year student from Tourism and Recreation faculty. It is my pleasure to host today, for the first time in history of Vistula University, a TV show that will be broadcasted live where Vistula students will discuss their perspectives on Ukraine's uncertain future. You can follow us on www.vistula.tv. As you know, following the protest in Euromaidan and civic revolution, the Crimean parliament asked to join Russia, and there was a referendum on the 16th of March on endorsing the move. The European Union and US leaders joined Ukraine's government in condemning this move as illegal. The European Union then suspended visas and economic talks with Russia and threatened sanctions at an emergency summit. The US imposed visa restrictions on people who threatened the sovereign and territorial integrity of Ukraine. Pro-Russian forces remain in control of Crimea, where standoff continues with Ukrainian troops blockaded in bases. So what just happened in Crimea? On Sunday, citizens in the Republic of Crimea voted in a referendum to secede from Ukraine and join the Russian Federation. According to Crimea's referendum committees, 97% of voters approved to be united with Moscow. This evening, we have along with us our students of Vistula University to discuss the uncertain future of Ukraine in a TV show, Crimea Secession: How, Why, and What Next? I welcome you all and thank you very much for your participation this evening. Let me introduce the group for today. We have Yana Chorna, first-year international relations student from Ukraine. Yarek Raspopov, second-year international relations student from Ukraine. Dilovar Miemodov, second-year economics student from Ukraine. Ayshegul Aksoy, second-year international relations student from Turkey. Ian Ovchadek, first-year information student from USA. Elena Grigoryan, first-year student from Finance, Ukraine. And Daria Severyukhina, first-year student, International Relations, Russia. So we will begin today with Yana. So what's your perspective on what's happening?
Hi everyone. I came from the central part of Ukraine, where most of people support for sure Ukraine and want to be free from Russian occupation. First of all, I'd like to say that from the very beginning, the revolution in Ukraine wasn't that in Russian perspective, because it was the revolution of minds of people. People wanted to become free and wanted to become independent and come in more close relationship with Europe. And Russia started to violate the law, and what we see now is the violation of international law as well as Ukrainian law in the Crimea. The reason is that there is no law that for the referendum that happened in Crimea recently, and this referendum cannot be stated as legal, because no international people were invited there, and no observers actually were there. Russia is telling that what they are doing is just supporting their people Russian people that live in the Crimea, but I'm not afraid to tell that this is a lie, because there is no violation of Russian law, actually, if it can be said so, in Crimea, and people are not offended. Russian people are not offended for sure there. I know some people from Russia that live in the Crimea, and they say that they are not offended and they can freely speak Russian and not being afraid of that. What is more, American representatives yesterday said that he also knows that there is no violation for Russians, and they are not offended in the Crimea, and he saw that by himself. What I mean is that not Russian language is the one that should be supported, but I think that Ukrainian language. Because in the Crimea, in Donetsk, in Kharkiv, in Odessa, most of people speak Russian. And nobody offend them, and nobody say that this is wrong, or so you have to speak only Ukrainian. So I think we should support Ukrainians, as our law is violated by Russians, and they are not doing the right thing by lying in the television. There is an informational war, so-called, because there is a lot of lie in the Crimean television as regarding the events that are happening in the Ukraine. And there is a lot of lie in the Russian television, and there are some news that are just invented and not that are not truthful. What is more, some TV channels that are telling the truth in the Crimea that are just closed, and people cannot access any truthful information. So that is it, I think.
Okay. So Daria, you're from Russia. What's your perspective?
Okay, as for violation of the international law, as you said, okay, Russia violates the Ukrainian law, and what can you say about the USA, who violates their international law of Afghanistan, of Iran, of many other countries, providing its dominancy? But now Russian government just show all the world that we also can do the same things, and we don't violate the law, but we try to say to other world committee that we should return to the international law, that there is still some rules in the world we should obey. And about their language, as you know, the Russian President Vladimir Putin said that in Crimea there will be three languages, state languages. It is Ukrainian, it is Russian language, and Crimea-Tatar language. And I think that their conflict in Ukraine is more the conflict of superpowers of the world, not only in Ukraine. Yes, the Euromaidan, it is the problem of Ukraine, of Ukrainian people who are just tired of corruption in their country, but their situation in Crimea, it is their quarrel between their dominancy of the United States of America and the Russian Federation.
Okay. So Dilova, you're from Tatar, yep.
Yes,
So what's your take on
from
this?
Crimea. So what I would like to say that regarding breaking those rules, that we are saying that Putin did not break any rules. Let's start with those soldiers that are in Crimea right now that occupy the whole territory. According to international law, the highest number of soldiers that are allowed to be in Crimea is on territory of Ukraine is 6,000 people. 2 days ago, Putin gave us his speech when he signed an agreement about Crimea, and he said that the amount of Russian soldiers in 125,000, which is already is violation of a law. Then about the referendum. Due to latest information, the percentage that agreed to go into Russia is about 97%, right? And the problem is that people did not vote for Russia. It's like Russian people that lived in Crimea, that they could vote for Crimea to join Russia, which is already not right. In Sevastopol, there are like 123% of people that voted for 123%. Just think about it, which is not right already. And there was a latest interview yesterday of Crimean Tatars that attended referendum, and only 0.5% attended. But Putin is saying that like about 87% voted of Crimean Tatars, which is again a lie. So the whole situation of this is like a total lie, and people like people don't have a choice. They didn't vote for this, but this is just the deal of a couple of people that are interested in this, not the population of Crimea. That's my point.
Okay. Alina, what's your perspective?
For me today it's very difficult to say something about this situation, because there are a lot of different minds, there are a lot of different opinions, and now we can't trust anybody, I think, because everybody are lying now, because it's really very difficult situation, and I think that it's not the end, it's only just the beginning, and I think that it's a little beginning, and it will continue, and I don't know in what way. Somebody are able to say that it will be a war, somebody are saying that there will be nothing. So, as I'm Ukrainian, I really can say that it was a convention when Russia said that Russia will support Ukrainian, when Ukraine said that Ukraine is going to destroy all our wages, yeah? And now we are without any wages, without anything, and they are doing these things. They are taking Crimea without, I think, any legal rules, because everybody says that it is unlegal, yeah? Europe Union, USA, everybody, except of, I think, Syria and Afghanistan, yeah, only these two countries are not agree with European Union, Ukraine and USA. So I don't know what will be, but I really spare that there will be no war, and I really spare that everything will be okay. I think that we have only expect something, yeah.
Okay, Ian, you're from USA, so from an American's point of view, what's your take?
As for breaking of international law, the USA did break international law in 2003 when they invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. That was justified after the 9/11 attacks. However, we do not annex land that is intervened in. More so, that is also Bush regime tactics of providing democracy in foreign places. Obama's take on this whole situation is mostly empty rhetoric. It is, we're trying as best as we can not to use any military to prevent, another war. There are parties within the USA, mainly the Republicans, who are favoring military intervention, be it through arming the Ukrainian government or even deploying our own troops. As of now, we only have sanctions that we put on, I believe, 11 Ukrainian and Russian officials. However, there are talks of economic sanctions. This would not work because Russia is mainly an export country, not import country, and our goods are not supplied from the Russian Federation. So that would not be effective.
Okay, and Aisha, you're from Turkey.
Yeah.
What's your perspective?
Well, actually, Turkey, now as we all know, there's elections coming, and Turkey is mostly concerned with these elections, with domestic issues, and there is a paradox actually in the foreign policy. In one side, we have a good relationships with Russia in terms of politics, economic, and tourism, and the most important thing, energy. And the other side, Turkey said that it didn't recognize the referendum which is made in Crimea. And we know there are many Tatars who live there, and Turkey really cares about these Tatar people who live there. And in the past, we all know Tatar people were forced to leave their homelands by Russia, and then I think it's kind of history is repeating itself now, and then they worry. And Turkey defends Ukraine's territorial integrity. And there is a Budapest Agreement, as we know, which includes Russia, UK, and the USA. Their purpose was to protect Ukraine's territorial integrity, but Russia broke this agreement. And I think the reason is the Crimea's location in the Black Sea. It has a really important strategic location, and it is the key point to get through to Mediterranean Sea. I think that's all.
Okay. Yeah. Yarek, you're from Ukraine, so what happened? What's next? What's your expectation?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to tell you about what I think about the memorandum. Personally, me, I think it's illegal. Why? And I think it's fake. I think it's a crime against Ukraine. And what important, it's a crime created and sponsored by Russian Federation. Why? Because according to Constitution of Ukraine, it's legal. Let's say if any part of Ukraine would like to vote in a memorandum about the territorial integrity, the participation should be all population of Ukraine should take part. And that's why it's also related to the international constitutional law. It's against international constitutional law as well. And all this action in Crimea, all this action in the east of Ukraine, we can see can provoke the development of nuclear weapons in the world. Why? Because in 1991 Ukraine used to be the third nuclear country in the world, and Ukraine rejects. Why? Because Russian Federation, United States, and United Kingdom signs for Ukrainian territorial protection and integrity. That's why nowadays some countries, some small countries, some countries which are in the way of development can say that basically international law doesn't mean anything because of this nowadays superpowers can do anything against each other and can go against international law. That's what we mentioned before. The United States used to do in Iraq and Afghanistan, and what Russian Federation unfortunately doing now in Crimea. That's what I think.
Okay, I would like to invite anyone from the audience if they have any personal opinion. Please come on.
Hi everyone, I'm Abana, I'm the student of international relations, and I'd like to tell you that I quite agree with most of what says Dasha, and I'd like to add that on the 25th of May we'll have the elections, and on these elections we will elect the legislative president and the parliament, and I think that everything will be alright, and all issues regarding our nowadays problem will be solved. And of course, I don't agree with Yana because Russian language is very important for us, and we need to have it like a second language. Because even in the European Union and all over the world, we're studying the Russian literature, Russian science literature, and of course like Pushkin, Lermontov, Dostoevsky, and somebody very famous. But when I was studying in school, we were studying it on Ukrainian language, and I think it was very awful. So I think Russian language we need it.
Okay, may I make a response to that? That's for sure. I'm not telling that Russian language isn't important for Ukrainians. I wasn't saying that. I just said that it is not violated Russian laws, the law of the rights of Russian people in Ukraine as for speaking the Russian language isn't violated. People can freely speak Russian and they are not punished or something like that by speaking just Russian. I'm saying that Ukrainian language is the one that should be supported and should be protected, as most of people in Ukraine speak Russian. That's what I meant.
Yes, but Russian language as well, because half of example, Eastern Ukraine and Southern Ukraine speaking Russian language, and other parts of our country speaking Ukrainian. And I hope that our country will be hostile, will be together, and I think the most point of view of all people, Ukrainians, Russians, that country should be hostile and not separated.
For sure, but I think that the main language in Ukraine should be Ukrainian, the one that is its native language and the one that we should protect. As frankly speaking, Russian language isn't our language. We are Ukrainians and we have to love and we have to protect our language from others. For sure, not punishing people for speaking different languages, as in every European country, people have the right to speak the language that they want. Even here in Warsaw, in Poland, we we're walking, we speak in Russian, Ukrainian, even English, and not Polish, and that's okay for us, and that's what should be in Ukraine, I think. But the main language, I highly expect that should be Ukrainian.
And Miriam?
Hello everyone. I have one point to add. Many Russians say that Crimea is Russian territory because Khrushchev gave it to Ukrainians, but they don't mention that when Khrushchev gave Crimea to Ukraine, there is nothing. Everything was destroyed, and after Ukrainian people built different base of rest and make different infrastructure, Russians say, oh, it will be good to take Crimea back. So it is not the main point. And about languages, why we create two main national language, and it will be a solution. And what about referendum? I think that Ukrainians now are getting together, but I'm worried about all my friends and some of my classmates, which I were in one high school, now in Crimea, because they are in military force, and I'm afraid of their life, because if it will be a war, they can die. They are only 17, 18 years old, so we don't need any violence, but we need only peaceful resolution. I think that I will advise Russian people to unite, and I heard that in Moscow and different cities of Russia there is different protests about Crimea violence. So I think if we all united, we can do something with that. And I hope that we will have help from UA and US. Now they're just watching what's going on, but I hope they will have peaceful solution of all of that. Thank you.
Does anyone else from the audience have an opinion? Yeah, Julia?
Hello everybody. Yes,
Where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine, from the east part. Of course, I agree with you with all your opinions, but also I want to add such a little point, such my point of view that, of course, nobody wants to have a war. Everybody wants to have a peace, but I think that most also problem connect in our government, because, as I mentioned many times, that maybe it was such a plan before, and they have expected that, that Ukraine can be divided into two parts, because, as you know, that people from south, from east to west, but mostly east to west, they know that we have such maybe name of each other, and when you came to the west, so people from the west can name you such interesting words. It's not so offended, but it's like a joke. So I think that everything will be okay, but still we have really tight connection with Russia now, and I think that we shouldn't have with Russia a war, because east part connect with Russia very close, very tight, and if west will be against from east, so divided into two parts, it's obvious. But I believe that it couldn't be. Thanks for attention.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, anyone else? Okay, Stanislav from Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good evening to everyone. I want to mention two cases. The first one is that Crimea Peninsula for Russia is only a toy. It's only one subject to divide Ukraine and try to destroy everything in our countries that we try to do after our revolution, after our Euromaidan, yeah? And to my mind, we need some help, some support from our neighborhoods here, and for our great powers that can use their authority, their respect, and to secure Ukraine from the war, because it's really very important. It's impossible to start the war just because of Crimea Peninsula. They have no energy. The energy, the nearest station, energy station, located in Kakhovka. Kakhovka is also south of Ukraine, but it's also 200 kilometers to them. So that Crimea is useless in some case. But on the other hand, for Russia, it's also a great possibility to divide, great possibility to destroy and to sum up their great power. It's one case. The second case, I want you all truly to decide your own opinion about this case, and that EU and the US, it also may be the main actors in this conflict, because they are superpower. And but not always they can use their power according to Ukraine. US have their own pros and cons, and everyone knows about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
May I say this?
Yes, sure.
Our friend mentions that Russia is trying to destroy Ukraine nowadays. I'm not actually agree why, because it's not about destroying the country, it's about to have influence. Because why? Because we got independence in 1991, and from that time, basically Ukraine have never been an independent country. Officially, of course, it was, but everybody, I think, knows or guessing that it used to be under control of Russia, especially of Putin. That's why I think it's about influence. It's about, and we can find here a question about the Cold War #2. This can be something about it also. And I would like to add something about Crimea question also. There is a big population, community of Tatar people. And they asking about help in a Muslim world because they are Muslim. And I would like to have some opinion about Muslim, what Muslim countries think about it. Because actually I think Muslim country would support Tatar community in Crimea. And the main question, because like a few days ago, I read the news that few Tatars people already have been killed there, and all Tatar community are really worried about it, and about non-actions from the Ukrainian current government, the new one.
I'm sorry, but I totally disagree with you, because you said that Russia wants everything to protect Ukraine, and Russia wants all the best for Ukraine. But how are you able to say that it's true if now in Crimea, the half of Crimean people, they have to leave Crimea, and they can't be there, they can't live there. They have to leave their houses and go in other towns, in other countrysides. Maybe somebody will be able to go in normal cities, but they have to leave their hometowns. And is it support from Russia? I think that it's not the support of Russia. And also I can say that tomorrow, Ukraine is going to sign the European Association, and sign this paper. And I think that I think that Ukraine in this case shows that we want to be with European Union, and that we don't want to be with Russia. So why they are doing these things? Why they are, taking our lands? And you said that Ukraine is not independent country. I think that it's a little bit silly, because I think we did a lot of things and we improved our economic, maybe not in the best way, but it has improved a little bit. And I think that after Yanukovych went his office, I think that in this way Ukraine was able to grow up, to improve economic and to improve Ukrainian lives in a better way. And I don't know, but I think that everything what was happened is not good, and Ukraine have to be independent, and Crimea must be with Ukraine. And I think that maybe referendum showed us that people want to be with Russia, but I totally can say that it's not true.
But everybody knows what does mean that referendum, because the population of Russian people in Crimea Peninsula probably 55%, and the people who took part in the referendum was like around 90%, and it's impossible. Why? Because only Tatar population there, it's approximately 30%, I think.
But they should leave their houses. Do you think it's normal if in one day the man knocks on your door and he says you, today or tomorrow or in 3 days, you have to leave your home, you have to leave Crimea, and where do you want to go? It's not my problem. Where you want, you can go. It's your decision. Okay, go. And do you think it's normal for people? Do you think it's normal for humans' mentality? I think that a lot of people, maybe not all people are crying now, but are you able to think maybe about 15% of these people? It's people and it's Ukrainians, and you're also Ukrainian, and I think that if we want to be patriotic, we have to protect them also. And it's not normal that people should leave their houses, and I can't understand it really.
Okay, and could you explain why people should leave their houses first of all?
Because as we read in newspapers, now it's the lands of Russia, Crimea is Russian, and some people who are living in these lands, they can't stay there.
Why they can stay there? I didn't know anything why they can stay there. Everybody can stay there, but
because
the point is...
it's the Russian rule.
No, there was no such Russian rule.
Can I say,
Can stay
actually I'm from Crimea, and I know personally what is going on right now in Crimea. Those people that work for Ukrainian government, for those soldiers that work for the army, they have to leave the Crimean Peninsula because they're not part of Russian Federation anyway, because they work for Ukrainian army, military, whatever. So this is right. People have to leave. People have to leave their houses. They have to leave with their families. A lot of people have been killed because of this, and also 2 people committed a suicide because of this, because they had to leave their own house. And regarding that referendum, this is started because of what? Because Russians didn't have those rights to speak Russian on Crimean territory, right? Well, after referendum, it turned out that 97% are for Russia. They agreed to join Russia. How come? Like this means that 3% were against 97%. So how come? This started because of those 3% of people.
There was not the total attendance of Crimean people. There was only, I guess, 82% of Crimean citizens who were attended their referendum, and then 97% is of these 82%. It means that it is approximately 80% of population. Don't taking into account the Crimean Tatars, I think, because I don't think that Crimean Tatars would like to join Russia. And about their question whether referendum is legal or illegal, there is an article in the UN Charter that's giving you a right to every nation to self-determine. It is the same situation as in Kosovo, for example, because when the citizens of Kosovo would like to separate from the Serbia, it is the same case. And if we said that, okay, Kosovo situation is legal, why can't we say that the Crimean situation is legal too?
I'd like to support Alina by saying that those people, Ukrainian people living in Crimea who were voting for Russia, I think that probably most of them were imposed the untruthful information that Russia was telling, broadcasting on the TV, on the newspapers, on the internet even. Probably most of them, that's why they were voting for Russia. Besides, speaking about Ukrainian law and Ukrainian constitution, about the referendum, I'd like to say that there is no legal basis in Ukraine for holding local referendums. Yes, there is a law about referendum in general, and but about local referendums, there is a really long process of holding it, and how they could make a referendum in a few weeks. It is illegal.
And also something about referendum. There was agreement between maybe more than 200 years ago between Ottoman Empire and Russian Empire when Crimea used to be under Russian Empire. They signed agreement about if Crimea Peninsula will get in future their independence, they should go automatically under control of Turkey, that time to Ottoman Empire. So like Crimea Peninsula a few days ago proclaimed their independence. How should they act like? Like Turkish people, like Russian people, like Ukrainian?
But most of Crimean people would like to join Russia.
We don't know really.
We don't know because
Anybody
my
can
parents,
join
like even like I tell you this not from the news, not from what I read in the newspaper. Right? I tell you this from what my friends see in Crimea, what my parents see in Crimea, how people vote. They vote on the street. Literally, on the street, people can vote for the Russia. There are some people that try to vote in different parts of Crimea in the same day, and they did it. They could vote 5 times. One person could come and vote 5 times. So, like the organization of this referendum is like, no, this is not organization. Do you agree? Do you agree
yes,
with this?
At this point,
I'll not wonder if cats and dogs could vote. Like, this is even funny. It is really funny.
I agree with you in this statement, but I also have friends in Crimea because I have a lot of my group mates from Crimea, and they say that really the most population would like to join Russia. They just afraid of the situation in Ukraine, in the Euromaidan, and that's why they would like to find stability, maybe some stability.
How do you know? How do you know when we do not know the results of this referendum because it wasn't organized well.
Okay, I think that their only solution is to wait for their election of Ukrainian president, the legal Ukrainian president, and then we can talk definitely on the theme is was this referendum legal or not, and maybe we should look at these results once again. I don't know their future politics of Ukrainian president. I don't know even their future politics of Russian president. I don't know, and this is how we see the situation.
You know, we can't wait now because as we've seen that this referendum was done in 2 weeks so quickly, so we can't stay in this place. We have to do something, yeah? Maybe we are young people, we can't do something, and we are now here in Poland, but we can support also our friends in Ukraine. But as you said that we have to wait, I really can say that we can't wait, because if we will wait, we will become Russian. I don't know.
That's true. If we will wait, how can we look and wait as if Russia is annexing our land? How can if today Crimea, tomorrow Kharkiv, Odessa, and then what?
No, Russian government don't want to annex all the Ukraine. I think it is not in our.
How can you say that?
How can you say?
No,
Do you
Putin
know
wants all the
what the
world,
truth?
so you can't say
Putin shows his power now. He shows all the world that yes, Russian Federation is still the great power, and we can also do whatever we want, really, because it is the balance of power in the world.
But does it need to show that power?
Also, American power is starting to dwindle as well. Should we just invade Canada? That's not a justification for armed conflict.
No, I think that Russian Federation, on the Crimean example, they showed this power. It is done. I don't think that a Russian president needs to annex all the Ukraine to show that we are a great power.
Of course
really.
he wants it.
Yeah, there's Russian speakers in Odessa. There's Russian speakers in the east of Ukraine. He still uses the same excuse to move his troops into Ukrainian territory.
And then I wonder if in your country all Russians are perfect, living in a perfect situation. Why did he just start to concern about the Crimea?
Yes, why not Germany? There are like 5 million people in Germany living, and they have to speak German in German schools. How come?
It is because of I think only historical connections. I don't know how to explain it in any other way. Because when Khrushchev gave the Crimean territory to Ukraine, nobody agreed with it actually. Even after the collapse of USSR, nobody agreed that it was legal because of its strange circumstances, really. But when Putin take his power in the beginning of the 21st century, he started the politics of delimitation of Ukrainian borders. It means that we, however, agree or not we agree with it, but we agreed on this, that Crimea is the territory of Ukraine. Yeah.
Okay, one more thing. There is no land borders with Russia, Crimea with Russia. That's why probably one of the main reasons why Khrushchev gave it to Ukraine, because Ukraine have the land borders, and it is extremely uncomfortable, I think, for Russia, and probably they understand it, the government of Russia understand that Crimea will cause extremely high cost sum of money to build some bridges, to build some connections with it. So probably it's not even profitable for Russia to annex Crimea, but nobody understands why government of Russia is doing that.
But
Okay, we're running out of time, but I would like if everyone would just say one line or two lines about what they expect. Just a brief summary.
Well, as I said previously, nobody actually understands the reasons of Russia doing such things. They were lying. They are lying to people in Russia, to people in Ukraine even. They were trying to say that all the things they are doing just supporting their people, and even trying to say that some of Russians were killed in Crimea, but that is not true for sure. And the main thing that is a bit frustrating, that nobody can predict the end, because nobody knows what Putin is going to do tomorrow or even today in a few hours. And that's the most frightening thing, for not only for Russians but for Ukrainians mostly, because we are losing our land, we are losing our people, we are losing even our friends, and nobody knows. And I think it is an unpredictable situation, but everybody is just trying to hope for the best. Honestly, there is not such a hope that Crimea will be Ukrainian, because Putin don't want to give it away for sure. The reasons are just not vivid for anybody, I think, and for Europe and for USA as well. But this is what Russian government is doing, and Ukrainians are hoping for the best. Thank you.
What I think, what I hope, and how can only we stop this conflict, we solve this problem, this question. I think it's only one way for all Western part, for Asian country, I mean for European Union, for United States, for Japan, some maybe other country, to stop, completely stop all diplomatic, political and economic relation with Russia. That's only one way that can, let's say, touch Russia, and probably the Russian government will think about something else after that touch.
So I would like to mention that there is no way that Crimea can be as a Russian territory, because 80% of everything that Crimea has, all the production, all the water supply, electricity supply, all the food supply, everything comes from Ukraine. And if we join to Russia now, this means that prices for food will jump like at 30%. This is legal information for now, because Aksonov is like Russian, is a Crimean deputy. He said that prices will jump up, but salaries will not. This situation is a total disaster, because this is an information war. People do not know the truth. Like, all the Ukrainian media is blocked in Ukraine. People don't see any Ukrainian channels. All they see is what Putin says. They see all Russian channels, so people do not know what they expect. They just don't know what they're choosing. If on that Russian referendum, if they chose to join the Russia, they didn't know the consequences of their choice, and that's the problem, in my opinion.
I really agree with you, and also I can say that nobody knows the truth now, but I think that Ukrainian TV is, I think, more useful nowadays, because in Russian people, they are not seeing everything, and for example, they didn't say that yesterday there were killed two journalists, they were Crimean, they wanted to know the truth, and Russian, they don't know this, and Ukrainians, they know this. This is the reason why Ukrainians are so angry, and why everybody are really, I don't know, they don't know what to do, they don't know what to expect and how to do something. So I think that your mind is really depends on news in what you are seeing, and it's only your choice to what news to see and what reasons and what conclusions to do.
And the only conclusion, I think that nobody really wants the war. we're living in a world with strong economic connections, for example. All countries depend on each other, really. It is the case of sanctions, because nobody can put sanctions to Russia, because it will cost the same to any other country. I really hope that this situation will be solved in positive way. I really expect this, and who knows what will be the next, but we have only hope, I think.
To add to her point, the wars of today aren't fought with tanks, they're fought with banks. Meaning, the only way to get your point across as a state is to hurt their economies. As of now, the Russian economy, I believe, is suffering from this occupation, and I believe further economic sanctions would help bring our point across.
About the sanctions, what I observed is I think it's not going to work, because many countries are dependent on Russia's natural gases, energy. I don't think that sanctions is going to work. It needs to be another solution.
Okay. Thank you all for your participation, and thank you all for your opinions. Thank you for our audience, and we hope to see you soon for our next show, and good evening.